Welcome to my soul tribe. My name is Miriam Rose. I'm an intuitive healer, a counselor, and a spiritual teacher. This channel is dedicated to spirituality, lifestyle, as well as makeup because I enjoy makeup and it's very therapeutic for me. I upload 3 times a week, so please like, subscribe, ring the bell, and share. Please join my Instagram for regular uploads. Today, I would like to share a story with you, which I think is quite interesting and can be of help to people who are considering lip fillers. I will share my my horror story with permanent lip fillers that I had about 5 years ago. So 5 years ago, on my birthday, I said to myself, I'm going to get myself some lip fillers, a bit of Botox here and there, a bit of fillers here, here. But my main focus, and everything else worked out really well, but my main focus was on dermal lip fillers. I did a little bit of research, but I didn't know much about it. I thought lip fillers are lip fillers and that's all there is to it. So what I did do, I made an appointment with a doctor, a professional doctor in a very decent suburb. I live in Melbourne, Australia, and I made the appointment in Toorak. So that's a very good suburb. So you would think a doctor who practices from there is very knowledgeable and knows what he is doing. And to be fair towards the doctor, he is wonderful. We still, up to date, 5 years later, have a fantastic relationship, and I couldn't be happier with my experience with this doctor and his assistant. They're beautiful people. So I came in for my appointment, and he asked me a very simple question. He said, would you like permanent fillers or would you like temporary fillers? And all I could think, I didn't know the difference. I didn't know anything about it. All I knew was fillers were fillers. So I thought to myself, well, if they're permanent, then they're going to last longer. That's all I knew. That's all I could think of. It was logical, if they're permanent, they'll last longer. If they're temporary, they won't last as long. So I said to him, I would like permanent fillers. He said, sure, not a problem. So just to tell you a little bit about fillers now that I'm more aware, temporary fillers are made of a substance called Restylane and Juvederm, and they last for about 6 to 12 months, and they dissolve naturally. And also the lip fillers can be injected with hyaluronic acid, which dissolves in your body naturally, and that's it. It just plumps up your lips. It makes a nice appearance, making the lips bigger. The results are quite predictable. Whereas with permanent lip fillers, the results are very unpredictable. And I wasn't aware of that. And what they use for permanent lip fillers is polyacrylamide, hydrogel, cross-linked, polymer with sterile water. Now, permanent lip fillers can last 2 to 5 years, and if you want to get rid of them, they need to actually puncture the skin and drain the lips. So I had a chat to the doctor, and I said, look, when you're doing the lip fillers, can you please inject a little bit here as well, because these parts here are sinking in, and with the same lip filler, and and do the lips. Simple? Sounds simple enough. So the procedure was extremely painful. Like literally, I've had 3 children, and and I've had really difficult births, and I can compare the pain to giving birth. It was painful. All I can say is that it was painful, but I thought to myself, it's worth it. So he injected the lips, they swelled up, and he injected around here, and that all swelled up and hardened up, and I thought, they'll come down. And he said they'll come down within a couple of days. A few days went by. My lips, instead of coming down to a nice shape, I can't say natural, because obviously they would be fuller, they began to swell and swell and swell and got bigger and bigger and bigger. And I messaged the doctor, and I said, my lips are just getting really big and I'm in a lot of pain. And he said, that's all right, don't worry about it. It's a natural reaction to the dermal fillers. I said, okay. A couple of days went by. My lips began leaking, oozing, and swelling more and more and more. Like literally, I looked like I was bashed up. I looked like someone punched me up. I looked like a battered housewife. So I sent another message to the doctor. I said, I'm sorry to bother you, but I think that there could be something wrong. And he said, well, send me a couple of pictures. I'm sure everything is fine. I did. His reaction was, immediately go to the emergency room of the hospital. You are having an allergic reaction. Wonderful. Okay, so I did just that. As soon as they saw me oozing and swollen and looking all bruised and battered, as soon as they saw me at the emergency, they took me right in, and they said, you're not going anywhere. I became an inpatient. They kept me in hospital for a whole week. They didn't know what to do with me, because there were 2 surgeons looking after me. One surgeon was saying she needs an operation. The other surgeon was saying, no, she doesn't need an operation. Everything has leaked out on its own. Anyway, this kept going on for a week. Eventually, I said, I can't stay here anymore. I really want to go home. So they said, yeah, well, look, we can't do very much for you here anyway, so go home. And I said, well, can I come back for aftercare? And the doctors at the hospital said, no, you can't come back here. Go back to the doctor who did this to you and let him fix it and let him deal with it. I was hoping to be looked after at the hospital because they have more facilities. Anyway, my initial doctor, was and still is to this day absolutely amazing. I can't speak highly enough of him as a doctor and as a person. He is just wonderful. He is just a beautiful person, so caring, takes such good care of his patients. And he said to me later on that after my case, he no longer injects that particular derma filler anymore. Even when patients ask him, he no longer injects it anymore. He just refuses. And they say, well, we've had this done before. We've had this procedure done before. And he says, no. I'm not taking any more responsibility for that disaster. So when I came home, I still looked really bruised and battered, but, the lips began to heal. And I started getting like these huge scabs around my lips, my upper lip, and my lower lip. I don't know if you can see it. Up here and down here. I started growing these big scabs. And that was the way the lips were healing themselves. So I was really embarrassed to walk around with these enormous, gigantic scabs. And actually, going back to the hospital, my son came to visit me like every single day. And we went downstairs to get some fresh air. And this man came over to us and he said to my son, whoever did this to her, go and get them. Because he thought I was bashed. I was battered. That's how bad I looked. Anyway, and we had a little chuckle to ourselves because, it was just from the lip fillers. Nobody bashed me up. So going back to this very lengthy 5 years of my life, still trying to fix the problem. The scabs were huge. They were gigantic. If I showed you the pictures of what my lips looked like, they were bloody, they were swollen, they looked horrendous. Then YouTube would cancel me. Those pictures are not for YouTube. So with time, the scabs fell off. And what I was left with were big scars from up here coming down on both sides, scars here all the way around the lip, broken skin here, and needle punctures here, needle punctures here, needle punctures around the lips. So basically, wherever he injected me, the little needle marks, they stayed. They didn't go away. And then I started growing lumps, huge lumps. I grew this gigantic lump here. I grew another lump here. And I grew many little lumps all around my lips. So the doctor, free of charge, mind you, continued for 5 years to inject me with a dissolvable substance to dissolve the lumps, each lump at a time. And he also used dry ice. He operated on these huge lumps, like they were big lumps that were coming out. And he operated on them and he took them out. And so that's the story with my derma fillers. How wonderful. So for a long time, for the past 5 years, I used vitamin E just about every day. And I used the type of a silicone gel which is meant to make the scars dissolve and diminish. I can't say that my lips are back to normal, and I can't say they're 100% the way they used to be. But 5 years is a very long time of fixing an issue which took less than half an hour to create. Since having had this disaster, I did further research and I found out that about 20% of people who get permanent lip injections get some kind of allergic reactions and complications. So, I hope my story is helpful to you if you're considering lip fillers. And also, I would just like to mention that lip fillers is not always the right solution for everyone, because ever since then, I decided to get a lip tattoo, and I did, which the lip tattoo makes your lips look plumper and fuller and nicer, they give them a nice shape. So I had lip tattoos done several years ago, and I really liked the results. And just recently I paid for a lip tattoo to get done as well. But, thanks to Rona and consistent on and off lockdowns for the past 10 months here in Melbourne, Australia, I have to be patient and wait for my lip tattoos to get done once again. Anyway, my story is not a typical one. It's just my story and my experience, and I wanted to share it with you. I hope it helps you. Thanks for watching. Cosmic kisses to everyone. Bye for now. And the doctors at the hospital, and let him fix. There was dry eyes, and I used, what did I use? Okay, and I used the type of a silicone gel, which is just start again. And since having had this disaster,